Hello there, I'm Christopher McLeod, aka Diagnostic80 from the Full Force podcast, Generals Joe's Reviews and In Demand Toys Reviews. I bought a lot of stuff this year, like a lot of stuff. Probably more stuff than I can show in the time it takes me to finish this... Oh, no, that's it. But still, in the world of toys, I picked up a huge amount of both vintage and modern in most of the major lines. The majority of people that witness this war on plastic often ask me questions like, where do you put it all? Why the f*** do you buy all this shit? And how do you get your hair that high? I'll cover that in another video. To those people I say, stop being nosy and just enjoy the various shots of my bed sheets. Anywho, I thought I would go through some of my favourite items of the year in a top 10 because I knew that's what you all wanted. The following toys have all been released this year and are my favourite items. This is opinion based, so I understand if you disagree, but basically bugger off because I'm right and you smell like a bag of In at number 10, we are starting with a figure that I've been clamouring for ever since NECA started making Aliens figures. Yes, that's right, a character that brought us the best line in a movie ever.
Have you ever been mistaken for a man?
No. Have you?
Private Jeanette Vasquez. Aliens was a real stonker of a sequel and had some of the best characters with the Colonial Space Marines. Drake and Vasquez were my faves because massive guns. She was played by Jeanette Goldstein, and despite being one of the most badass Space Marines ever, spoiler alert, dies in a blaze of glory in an air conditioning shaft, committing suicide with Lieutenant Gorman rather than getting captured by xenomorphs and being all impregoed by a facehugger. Kenner did a Vasquez figure that I missed out on as a kid, despite managing to pick up most of the other toys in that line, so I was very happy to get a hold of this beauty. One of the main reasons for her being at number 10 is that I have yet to crack her out.
We're just done with phrasing, right? That's not a thing anymore.
So that will be a priority after this video goes viral. Lols. Either way, she's fantastic and my 10th favourite toy of 2016. As an honourable mention and related to this, I would like to include the awesome NECA Ripley Kenner toy homage. Love the 90s toy line, and the idea to switch up the deco on the newest Ripley figure only with the Kenner twist, aka burgundy shirt, blue jeans, yellow boots and a neckerchief, was truly inspired. Really cool, but Vasquez edges it for me overall. Number 9 sees the franchise from a galaxy far, far away make an appearance. Star Wars toys have been a staple for many children since the property's debut in the late 70s, and due to its massive success, we are still getting films and toys to this day. Thank you, Disney. My number 9 of the year is a character that intrigued the crap out of me after seeing the first trailer for Rogue One about 8 months ago, and that is the droid on roids, K2SO. After seeing the film, I really enjoyed Alan Tudyk's, best name ever, performance of the outspoken and sarcastic Imperial security droid. Anyway, I've been addicted to the new 6-inch black series of figures, and K2SO is such a cool design that he works in all kinds of scales. Now I just need a full-size one. Next up at number 8, I've chosen the Lord of the Thundercats.
Thundercats!
Lion-O is basically a kid in a man's body, and if that isn't a metaphor for myself and about 80% of the people watching this video, then I don't know what is. Matty Collector secured the license for the humanoid cat people with no genitals and quickly revealed the lineup for the initial subscription service before dropping it and the Masters of the Universe franchise, but not before cancelling production. The upshot was that we got the characters they initially revealed, but probably won't get any more. Uber sad face. It's a shame because the quality of this first wave is exceptional, and even though Panthro is my fave character, I haven't received him yet. I only have Lion-O and the SDCC exclusive Wily Kit and Wily Cat. Despite a few tiny issues like not being able to use the glove that clips to the waist and having to have a lot of extra pieces for different purposes, Lion-O is absolutely superb. The sculpt is amazing and captures the original cartoon design perfectly. He gets his position in the top 10, although had I not had my figures delivered to a US address, it could have been Panthro. At number 7 we have one of my all-time favourite properties of all time ever in time, G.I. Joe. I don't know the exact reasoning behind it, but I've always had an affinity for this particular brand. Whether it was Action Man, Action Force, G.I. Joe the Action Force, or just plain old G.I. Joe, I've always gravitated towards this near-future sci-fi military franchise with all of its crazy designs and awesome characters. Why so low in the standings then, I hear you say? Nobody said anything. Well, in the last few years, we have seen a significant reduction in product at retail, and with no movie since the last Bag of Hideous in 2013, it hasn't had the best representation commercially. Having said that, the G.I. Joe Collectors Club has pumped out a large amount of figures in their figure subscription services and exclusive sets for their awesome G.I. Joe conventions. The figure that creeps into this top 10 is this year's G.I. Joe Collector Club incentive figure. Pythona was a real shock of a reveal considering she had been requested for years and looked absolutely magnificent on the website, magazine, Polaroid or however you saw her first. The figure in hand was even better. Stunning sculpt, mesmerising deco, magnificent build, and some really cool accessories made for one of my favourite toys of all time. When I first saw her in the 80s animated Action Force/G.I. Joe movie, I was amazed at how badass she was and was always confused.
I was never confused
About why she hadn't had an original toy release. Well, now we have her, and she is awesome. I'm also throwing in honourable mentions to the European exclusive Homage Deco Tiger Force figures from the FSS4, Outback and Sneak Peek, because Tiger Stripes, Kitty Shirt and Michael McDonald/Kenny Rogers head sculpt. Number 6. If you're not aware of Boss Fight Studio, then there's a problem that needs to be rectified in the universe. This small independent toy design studio has created their own line of figures thanks to one of the most successful action figure Kickstarters of all time. The Vitruvian Hacks are highly detailed and fully customizable action figures that focus on Greek mythology, and my goodness are they awesome. In terms of this year's releases, I have to go with the Series 1 Wave 5 characters, and more specifically, the River Styx Guardian. It was a hard choice based on some of the incredible decos, but that colour that I can't even describe is just beautiful, and the figure is truly astonishing. They have acquired the license to create Bucky O'Hare figures for next year, so I expect my 2017 video will include a few of those. Number 5. Halfway there, people. When I got the Marvel Legends Juggernaut Build-A-Figure wave, I was truly blown away. Awesome character choices, fantastically executed, and a pretty solid Build-A-Figure in Juggernaut.
I'm the Juggernaut!
Out of all of these great figures, one still managed to stand out. Rogue. She is great. The Southern Belle of the X-Men.
Whatever you say, sugar.
With a cool backstory, romantic will they won't they relationship with Gambit, and some really awesome powers. The figure shows some immense sculpting on the head and the child-sized leather jacket. She is packed with an ungloved hand so she can draw the power from an enemy or friend, and one of Juggernaut's massive legs. Epic figure that pipped Cable to the post ever so slightly just because I love her design so much. In at number 4, we have all of the SH Figuarts Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figures. Yes, all of them. The Teenage Mutant Ninja, or Hero depending on where you were in the world, Turtles, have been one of the most successful comic, toy, film, game, merchandise, musical, yes, musical brands of all time, and have constantly reinvented themselves since their debut on the black and white pages of their first comic in 1984. I've been down since before the first episode of the cartoon aired on British television, when I read about the craze sweeping the nation in the US in a newspaper or an old-timey physical iPad for any millennials out there. I was captivated by the weird and kooky designs of the toys and revelled at the fun and frolics of the cartoon. They have reinvented themselves so many times now to various degrees of success that we are at a stage where a number of companies are grabbing the license to make all kinds of retro TMNT action figures. Nickelodeon, NECA, Mondo, DreamX, Mega Bloks to name but a few, but for me, the SH Figuarts take on the original cartoon figures have been incredible. Well designed, tons of accessories, cute homages and some beautiful articulation made them my fave versions of the Turts this year. Annoyingly, they all came out at different times, which in turn has placed all 4 brothers in different parts of the globe. Leo, Donnie and Mikey are in different parts of Vegas, probably partying, and Raph was exclusively available early at MCM Expo in the UK, so he's with me currently. As soon as I get a chance, the boys will be reunited and can finally take on the Foot Clan, who may or may not appear later in this list. They do. Number 3, and the first appearance in this list of my new Achilles heel, Transformers Masterpieces. There were so many releases this year, but I had to whittle it down to not appear too one-sided. I found it very hard to not include Ironhide and Ratchet here. The original toys these masterpieces were based on were absolutely hideous. I had both as a nipper and thought the robot modes were terrible. What Takara Tomy did was make more cartoon accurate representations of the characters, and boy did they knock it out of the park. They look 1,000 times better than the originals, and the transformations are extremely secure and satisfying. So who have I actually gone for at number 3? Inferno.
You know, say that I'm a stormy, I go blam. I like keep on down. Take the man that say that I'm a stormy, slam somewhere down the lane. I like keep on down.
Inferno. This guy is on fire. Pun intended. Exceptional in robot and vehicle mode, very G1 cartoon and toy accurate, and tons of cool features, including a cannon splunge feature. He edges Ironhide and Ratchet, but only just, thanks to the design mainly. As soon as I got this guy in hand, I fell in love, and that's about it. Now we are into the top 2. At number 2, insert joke here, although I've been inserting jokes throughout.
Who does number 2 work for? Who does number 2 work for?
That's right, buddy. You show that turd who's boss.
We have a repaint of the 2014 classic Transformers masterpiece toy Ultra Magnus, better known as Delta Magnus. Long story short, Delta is an homage to the original Diaclone paint scheme for Powered Convoy, the toy that was redecoed to create the Generation 1 Ultra Magnus. In early animated footage that made it to a promotional trailer for the 1986 Transformers movie, they even had Ultra Magnus in his Diaclone colours, but that was obviously rectified for the actual release of the film. The colour scheme popped up in the comics as well. Dreamwave went with an Ultra Magnus clone, but the name and character Delta Magnus was coined by IDW Comics in More Than Meets the Eye. Takara deemed it necessary to bring the character to life in masterpiece form, and I'm so glad they did. Having already had Ultra Magnus, I was only getting Delta to fulfill my completest OCD. But in actual fact, I absolutely love the deco, and in some insane way think it is enough to distinguish him from his structural twin. I would have had Ultra Magnus quite high in my 2014 of the year, but I didn't do any videos then, and also didn't buy him until this year anyway. Delta is my number 2, but in no way is that a joke about So, we've had Vasquez, K2SO, Lion-O, Pythona, Riverstyx Guardian, Rogue, the Figuarts Turtles, Inferno, Delta Magnus, and finally the number 1. What did I get this year that I've enjoyed more than anything, felt like I've waited an eternity for, and indeed bought multiples of? Well, the New York Comic Con exclusive NECA Foot Clan box set, of course. In 2008, NECA released the 4 turtles in their original styling from the Eastman and Laird comic, and they were totally radical. We later received April O'Neil in different paint apps, and some Mousers, but never any of the cool bad guys, aka Shredder and the Foot Clan. Well, roll on 2016 and NECA surprised everyone with 2 TMNT 4-packs that homaged the original arcade game, including the 8-bit deco. The Shredder and Foot Clan had finally been made, but still not in their original paint apps from the comic. Not to worry, NECA surprised us all again, this time at New York Comic Con with the original Shredder and the Foot Clan, which led me to buying 4 sets of them. They are superb and well worth the wait. My turtles finally have bad guys to fight.
Kids.
So that's my little look back on 2016, toy related anyway. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to post your own top 10s of the year in the comments or wherever you want. I can't tell you what to do, I'm not your real dad. I hope you all have a happy new year. See you in 2017.